Hi, it's Wendy Hernandez, attorney and creator of Command the Courtroom. So we're back with Carlos and my interview with Carlos on his thoughts about co-parenting and sharing custody and going through a custody battle with his ex over a period of a few years. In this video, Carlos is going to talk about kids not being able to enjoy time with one parent or the other because they're so concerned with what one parent or the other is thinking. And he's going to share his thoughts on that. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'll see you after.
I've never personally experienced this, but I've heard that, when kids feel like they can't share with one parent, I was at dad's house and we had a great time and we did X, Y, and Z, and dad's new wife and us went to the nail salon or whatever. When they feel like they can't do that, then they start hiding their joy or not sharing everything that they have to share, with the parent who may be upset, which in my mind would be contrary to what any parent would want. Does that make sense?
It does, because we have experienced that here in our home that I'm aware of several times. And it's something that makes me very sad for my kids, because I feel that they're not allowed to feel happy for spending or doing certain activities with like in our home. And like, if it's, I'll ask questions and about like certain things and pose when they're with the other party. And then I'll get the response of like, oh, I forgot, or no, I didn't say anything about that. And I can tell, like, what you're saying is that they're hiding it. And I think what you're starting to do is you're starting to make them feel guilty, and you're starting to put them in a position of having to decide like who's more important, right, and like loyalties. And I think you're going to set yourself up for problems as they grow older, like, because they'll just learn to keep things to themselves. And that's one thing that I work with my children, is that I try to validate them and to hear their voice about like what's going on and what I can do to make something better, instead of like, and my daughter has told me, like, in specific, like sports a while back, I was very used to like being very, sports driven, and like, my daughter is very, very, a very good athlete. And, she came home one day and she didn't have a lot to say. And this was the time me and my wife were dating, and I walked into her room and I said, hey, what's the problem? And she's like, I just don't like it. I'm like, you don't want to play sports? And she's like, well, I don't really want to play softball. And I don't know if it was coming from the other side or what, but I got down on a knee and I said, so what is it? She's like, I just don't want you to yell at me. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, don't yell at me. Like when I'm playing, like, don't, you embarrass me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll stop. How about if I stop that and I just give you like hand signals, or you give me your 100% effort and I just stay quiet on the side? And she's like, deal. And let me tell you, like, that was the biggest like turning point for my daughter, and something that my wife and her shared a lot. And that was some connection that kind of just happened out of the blue. Like my wife took it upon herself. She asked like, hey, do you want me to work with her and teach her a few things? And I didn't think nothing of it. And it grew into something of its own. Like, my daughter right now, she's on a break from it, but my wife like bonded with her over that. And I really felt that some of that was taken away by the other side, in a sense, that the same joy and enthusiasm, regardless, like, I feel that you don't have to be an athlete to be out there supporting your child. You can just be out there screaming for them if that's what they want or whatever. But you don't have to be an athlete to be out there. It doesn't take much to put a lawn chair out. And in my case, when I was a kid, my dad would just be on the sideline standing, and that in itself, like, those are things that are still like recorded in my mind, as I sit here as an adult.
Yeah, I have the same memories too. I played sports, not very well, but I played them, and my parents went and watched, and I remember it, and I had a case recently that went to court, where my client was asking for more time. And, there was this dispute over the kids swimming. And so, mom would be at swimming during my client's time. And so my client was upset because he felt like mom shouldn't be there because it was his time, but she was there with her girlfriends. And the judge didn't like my client's position on that. He felt like everybody should kind of just be able to come together and support the child, because that's who it was about. It really wasn't important whose time it was. And it was important to have the child, see the parents there and know that they're there for him.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Like even now, like I still invite, my kid's mom to whatever. If I put him in something, I first obviously try to ask if she's willing. And so far it's been somewhat receptive, but then the ugly thing is like, hey, let's talk logistics. Like, who's paying for it? And, like, can we share it? And, I'm at this point, I'm okay with whatever it takes, like, to make it work. Like, I don't care if I have to pay for it, I pay for it. It might not be fair in my eyes or everybody else's eyes, but how are you going to explain that to your daughter at 10 or 8, whatever your children are? You got to tell them, well, the law says that's not fair, so you don't get to play sports because your mom's not paying for the other half of it. And I don't really think that that's going to fly. And I don't think that that's going to, you're not doing anybody any good by doing that.
Yep, I agree 100%.
I hope you liked that video with Carlos. We still have a couple more to go before we finish up the 7-part series where I broke up the pieces of my lengthy interview with him. Remember, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube to get updates of the weekly videos. Like us on Facebook. And remember, until next time, keep on trucking and remember to command the courtroom.